You are success to me.
Hi everybody, it's Burn Van Living time again, question and answer time. Oh boy.
Yay!
So we had a couple come visit us here in our hometown. They were on vacation here and they were thinking about seriously moving into some type of tiny home living, and so they had a lot of good questions for us.
Yep, Sabrina and Demetrio from Texas.
And we thought it would be great to share those questions because it's something that it's a trend I've heard, and I thought you'd like to hear our side of what we think about it.
Yeah, they had some really good questions, and so we thought, well, if these are questions Sabrina and Demetrio are asking, they're probably questions that all of you are interested in hearing about. So we have a couple of those. But first, why don't you share a couple of the encounters we've had recently with the police?
So
we had one really good one.
We have one good one and then one not so good. So a little over a month ago, we were out. It's when we didn't have any money and we were living at the park. And we would just go to Walmart to sleep and then come back in the morning. And so a cop came over and I saw him pull up, and so I went outside and he said, "Hi, how you doing?" And very polite, and he said, "I've seen you here a few days. Do you know you can't sleep here overnight?" And I was like, "Yes, it closes at 11, we're out by 9. And he said, "Great," and then I volunteered a little bit because he was so kind, what we're doing. And he ended the conversation with, "Wow," he says, "you have a lot more home than a lot of people I talk to." So it was a very positive experience.
Yeah, he was super nice, and once he heard that we knew the rules and everything and we weren't sleeping there overnight, he
didn't care.
Totally cool with
we were
it,
legal
yeah.
to be there all day till 11 at night, so he didn't have any reason to harass us. Yeah. And then a few days ago, we were at another park that we really like because in the afternoons we can get shade, full-on shade.
It's been kind of hot again. It's been in the 90s and stuff again.
Yeah,
so
90s.
Yeah.
So a woman and her partner came over, and they were actually training. It looked like it was a training session.
Yeah.
A policewoman came over and her partner, and they were training a young guy. It looked like a training session. And we were maybe 12 and a half inches from the curb, maybe not. Enough.
We were totally legal.
Enough they could walk over and knock on the door and say, "Hey, you guys are over 12 inches from the curb." And then so they opened up, and I went out and talked to them, and they were, my focus was on making them feel comfortable with us, that we're not druggies or gonna steal, or we're not, so that we're just people living in a van. But she had a lot of invasive questions, and how long you've been doing this, how long you've been homeless.
Did you just recently become homeless? And I was like, "Vince, we're not homeless. Look at our home. It's an awesome home." But he's just like...
I was just trying to play nice and by the rules.
He was good.
And then they asked, what did they ask that you didn't like? They asked...
I just didn't like that she was like, "How long have you been homeless?" That she assumed that we were homeless. And she peeked in while I was making dinner. She looked in the van, and it just felt it just didn't feel like she had the right to interrogate us like that when we're not doing anything wrong, it just... And then,
and then she wanted to know if we'd live here, if we'd ever lived here before, like we're vagabonds. I'm like, "Oh, we lived here for 14 years. I had a house here until we lost it, till we gave it up for a simpler life." And she didn't care about any of that. Then she let it go when I said I wasn't staying we were just staying for dinner and we were going to leave. Even though I didn't really need to do that.
She let it go when you said that we have a legal place to sleep every night.
Oh, yeah. When I said we had a legal... it went on for 5 minutes of her getting leading questions, me trying to figure out what we were all about.
Yeah.
And it finally ended up, I just said, "We have a legal place to sleep every night for permissions," and then she was fine. "Okay, sounds great. Just move over a couple inches." And so I got in to move, and I saw the car right in front of us was well outside of the 12-inch limit. Not even close. It was a good 2 or 3 inches past. So it's just, it was an end for them, and they weren't kind about it.
Yeah.
And I was very positive and just wanted to let them know that we were cooperative, and it's not really how I felt, but I wanted to be in spirit and be kind-natured, so that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I had to defend myself, and I just kept answering questions till I made her feel okay, even though, like the first cop, he asked, "Do you know you can't be here at night?" "Yes." "Okay, great. Have a great day." And he was really kind about it.
Yeah. So Sabrina and Demetrio were here, and we had an awesome time with them.
Yeah.
So, such a sweet couple. Can show a picture of them. And they had great questions. They're at the point in their lives where they're really seriously considering living in a van or some type of tiny home at least 6 months out of the year, and he's able to work remotely and stuff. So anyway, one of the questions they asked, which was a great question, we've gotten this question before, but we actually have an update on our answer to this question, is how do you deal with living in a small space you need time alone? You know, everybody needs time alone. And so how do you do that in your marriage and living in a van? And
in 70 square feet.
Yeah. And so we have a much different answer now because we've been doing this for a little bit longer. You know, we lived in a school bus, which was a lot bigger. And when we lived in the school bus, Vince had job, he worked, you know, and so we had natural time apart now. But now that we're doing this business together full time, we work together, live together, and live in a van. So now that we've been in here since February and it's August now, I'm an introvert. He's an extrovert. And I definitely need more time alone than he does. And it used to be I felt like I could sit up in the front and journal and he could be in the back listening to his book, and then that morphed to no, I need to be in the van totally alone for a couple hours while I'm journaling, and he'll actually go into Starbucks and do some work on the computer and stuff, and now it's gotten where I need even more than that, and I've actually taken some full days away. My mom lives here now and she works in Boulder, which is just 20 minutes from Longmont, so I go with her in the morning and spend the day in Boulder and just have a total day to myself out at coffee shops and walking, and yeah, so it's definitely morphed, and you just have to go with the flow. You just have to keep listening to what you need. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually going on a trip by myself on Sunday. I'm gonna take off for a week or so and go visit a friend in New Mexico, and so we're gonna have a whole week apart. That's gonna be a long time. I mean, we've been together so, like, every moment for so many months now
Since the beginning of January.
I'm really gonna miss you.
I know, I'm gonna miss you too.
So we'll let you know how that goes. But it'll be good for us. It's good for relationships to have space, you know?
So I'm gonna drive down there to pick her up, and then when we come back, we're going to stop in at Santa Fe and Manitou Springs and make a little vacation coming back up north. And
yeah, so my brother's going to drive me down there, and then at the end of the week, Vince is going to come and pick me up, and we'll have a fun adventure on the way back. And I was like, oh yeah, we can just take our time coming back, because my next speaking engagement isn't until September 13th, and so we can just take our time and have a fun little road trip on the way back to Colorado. So, and we'll be so excited because we will have missed each other for a week. So yeah, you need to take space, and there are creative ways you can do that even when you live in a tiny space. So that's that. And then another great question that Sabrina and Demetrio asked was, what about safety? You know, live in a vehicle, you're out parking in possibly dangerous places. Like, how do you deal with that? And first, why don't you tell the story of, kind of an abbreviated version of the National City.
Yeah, so when we first got to San Diego, we were looking for Walmarts, and we didn't realize
you couldn't park at Walmarts there.
You can't overnight at any Walmarts in Southern California at all.
We had such a time finding a place to park in San Diego.
So the first place we tried that was National City, which is one of the most dangerous cities in America. Right on the border of Mexico. But
we didn't know that.
We had no idea. I should have had an idea when there were security guards at the door of Walmart making sure people didn't steal things. They were actually security guards, not greeters.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. But anyway, so 3 o'clock in the morning, we get a knock on the door. It was the security guard who drove around the parking lot day and night. We'd seen him, but he says, you can't park here. It's too dangerous. We're like, well, can we just stay the night? We're already here. It's 3 in the morning. No, you got to leave. You need to leave the area. It's too dangerous for you to be here.
Yeah, we were sound asleep. It's
super
not fun at 2 a.m. to have someone knock on your house door when it's your van. Like, it's right there. It's jolts you awake. That wasn't fun.
He said, you need to go someplace else, and he gave, 40 minutes away. There's a place that's safer you could sleep at a Walmart. I don't know if they let you sleep there, but this isn't safe. So we'd already gone for a long walk in the neighborhoods that afternoon and saw all the bars on the windows and didn't really notice it because we're just, trusting people. So we ended up just pulling out and parking at a senior center 2 minutes away, and we slept the rest of the night great, and then we were talking to friends who live in the area there a few days later, and they were shocked. They're like, "You slept in National City?
In National City?
In a van?" They're like, "You're lucky you're not dead." And we're like, "It was fine. We had a great
we're not
time."
afraid. So here's the deal about fear and safety. We're not afraid of anything. We live in spirit. We feel guided on where to park. And there are so many things you can be afraid of in this world. I mean, anything could happen to you in your home, in your bed, anytime. There's all these things you could be afraid of, and we choose not to be afraid. Nothing bad has ever happened to us in the van. Nothing bad will happen to us. We just choose to live in a world of love and trust. And so why would we spend all this time worrying about what could possibly happen to us in the van when anything could possibly happen to you at any moment? You could drop dead of a heart attack right now. Why spend your life worrying about that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
how many people get their houses broken into that are houses? It happens all the time.
Yeah.
People get their car stolen. People get things stolen from their house. People get broken into. People get robbed.
Yeah, we don't watch the news because there's no reason to put that kind of... Our world in America especially is just filled with fear. Everybody's afraid of everything, And you can fill your mind with that and be afraid and, not do things and not live your dreams, or you can choose to live in another reality like we do. And when you live in that, you're putting out an energy into the universe that attracts positive things to you. We're not afraid, and so nothing bad happens to us, We live a magical life, and people who are living in fear think that's crazy. I know a lot of people are gonna hear this and think that we're crazy, but it doesn't matter because we're happy and we're safe and we live in a world of love. The thing that really set me free from fear was reading the book by Peace Pilgrim. Go to peacepilgrim.com. This amazing woman walked across the United States for 27 years. She didn't own anything. She didn't carry any money. She just walked on foot. She fasted until she was given food, and she walked until she was given shelter. So people would just offer to bring her into their home for a few days or a night or whatever and give her food, and she would just fast until she got food. And sometimes she would just sleep out in the park, and she was just full of peace and love, and she just had a mission. And that, in her story, her book, you can download it for free. It's incredible. There's a PDF. I just downloaded it on my phone. It took like 30 seconds this morning. And she did not have any fear. She slept in snowstorms outside. She like one time she got into this guy's car and she slept like a baby. Just this random guy's car along the side of the highway. One night there was like rain and stuff, bad weather, and so this guy offered for her to come into his car, and she got in the car and she just fell asleep and slept through the night. And then the next morning he was just staring at her and he's just like, "What is your deal? I was planning, when I invited you into my car, I was planning to assault you, to rape you, to touch you, and I couldn't. Like, I looked at you and you just fell asleep like a baby. You had no fear, and there was something about you. I just couldn't touch you. Like, I couldn't do what I wanted to do. What is your deal?" And she was like, "I live in love, not fear, and I believe that everybody is beautiful and that the world should be full of peace." And his life changed from that, So we create our reality. We live like Peace Pilgrim. We're not afraid of anything. There is nothing to fear, you guys. Yes, there's danger out there. There's horrible things that happen to people all the time. But they're choosing that reality. We need to choose the reality of trust. You will be taken care of by God, by the universe, if you just let go of your fears and trust. And we are living proof of that. We are constantly provided for and safe, divinely safe. So
yeah, That's how we live it. We don't always have enough food.
No, we do always have enough food.
Yes, we always have enough food, but
It would seem like we're about to run out
we
sometimes.
don't always know where it's coming tomorrow.
Right.
We don't sometimes we don't know where our food is coming tomorrow. But the reality is I don't need food tomorrow.
I
only need
today.
today. I can't eat tomorrow's food today. I can
Yeah.
only eat today's food today. So
We don't need $1,000 in the bank to know that we're going to be provided for tomorrow. And we always are. We have never gone hungry. We've gotten way down in our bank account. I think the lowest was like $20 or something. We didn't know
to our name.
how we were going to pay, a couple of, like our phone bill, a couple of bill, insurance, whatever. And then the money always came in. We're provided for. And Peace Pilgrim is the ultimate degree of that. She didn't carry any money with her, no food, for 27 years, just walking on foot, just provided for. And she made a huge impact on the world. She died a few years ago, but she made a huge impact on the world. And she just walked around in trust. So you can do it. You can live in a vehicle. You can live your dream. You can do whatever you want to do, but let go of the fear, because it's just holding you back and it's not real. It's just in your mind.
Yeah. Not losing my job and us deciding to let go of our big mortgage and our huge house was the best first step that ever could have happened to me.
Yeah.
To us.
Yeah. We were afraid too.
We had a $200,000 mortgage, which is probably small for some of you. For us, it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
To just let it go and walk away and start a new life. And
we haven't looked back ever since. It keeps getting better and better. The more you let go of, the more you can trust, and the more resources and magical living comes to you. It just keeps getting better and better.
Yep, totally.
So choose love, choose trust, let go of the fear, and go and live your dream.
Yep.
Have a great day, everybody. Love you.
Success
And I love you.
to me.
Bye, everybody.